Brands on Brands.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This week, we're talking about paid, owned, and earned media. That's part 3 of 3, continuing our conversation. Our last one is paid media. That's what we're talking about today. Check it out.
In a world where advertising is ignored, business is exposed, and the only constant is change, how do you build a brand that matters? Welcome to Brands on Brands on Brands, a home for those who think different and push their boundaries. This is where branding that matters lives. Now, here's your host, Brandon Birkmeyer.
Hey, welcome to Brands on Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal marketing coach, and I believe that building a brand that matters today is the only way for a business to thrive tomorrow. I appreciate you guys being here. Today we're talking about paid, owned, and earned media. This is part 3. We're actually diving into paid media today, and I hope some of you have been waiting for this and been getting excited about it as you've been diving into owned and earned. But if you haven't listened to those old episodes, go back to the previous 2 solo episodes and take a listen. That's 140 and 138 to get into owned media and earned media. But today is all about paid. And if you'd like to refer back to anything from today's episode, any specific lessons from what you hear today, go to brandsonbrands.com/142 for the full blog and downloadable resources. Also, just a quick note that I do help people develop their personal brands. If you'd like me to audit your podcast idea or your personal brand idea, go to brandsonbrands.com/coach. Go there today to set up a free consultation. Now, let's jump into the show.
Brands on Brands.
All right. Paid, owned, and earned media, part 3 of 3, talking about paid media. Now, first off, the whole concept here, this whole series is really about content discovery. How do you get people to listen to the stuff that you create? And content discovery has been something that a lot of us forget about, but it's important because once you go through the trouble of creating it, you want people to listen to it. So how do you get them to find it? Well, with paid media, the reason this is important is because at the end of the day, your content discovery grows at a faster rate with exposure from paid media. In other words, the faster you can put people in front of your content or put your content in front of people, the faster your business will grow and your content will grow. And at some point, you will hit a plateau in what you can do with organic. The only way to reach more people quickly is to pay for it, to pay for ads, to pay for exposure to those audiences. Now, the trick is, the hard part of it all is figuring out how to use paid media and what to say to make that effective, what to say in your messaging when you're creating those paid media opportunities or paid ads. So that's what we're diving into a little bit today. And I think it's important. The reason that this is going to help anyone out there is that, when you have a proven business model, when you've gotten to the point that you are confident in the thing that you are selling and how you help people, and you're ready to scale that, then you need ads. Why? Because you need to speed up your growth. The hardest thing is to suddenly have something that works and to wait for people to show up. What you need is to put as many people in front of you as possible once you've gotten there and you're ready to scale. You're ready to put that business to the test. So losing time by waiting for this thing to happen organically is actually more costly than spending money on and running no ads. So at the end of the day, you can start to measure, the ROI, the return on investment of running ads, but really what you're competing against is the ROI of lost time. You can't make money back for things that you miss, for going slow, for running 3 months with no customers or whatever the thing is. Maybe it's half the customers you could actually be handling. You can't get that money back. So that's why this is important. That's what we're going to talk about today. And, if you guys want to get into specifics of how to run Facebook ads and all of that, I did, obviously by design, 3 interviews with leading experts on Facebook ads specifically, because that's a big part of this puzzle in the last 3 episodes that were interviews. So episode 137, 39, and 41, 137, 139, and 141. My interviews with Tony Christensen, Paul Raimondo, and Rick Mulready, who does Facebook ads for Amy Porterfield's group. All of them give us piece by piece details of how they think about Facebook ads and how they make them effective. So dive into those episodes if it's helpful and if you're at that space. But what I want you guys to be thinking about is, how do I take paid media and build it into my content discovery plan? So we're going to go into what is it? What is paid media? What's the role of it, and some discovery tactics there for you. So first off, what is it? Obviously, it's paid exposure, right? You are paying to show up in established channels where audiences are. And why is Facebook ads always the number one topic? Because it is still the number one place where people spend their time. And they have developed their ad systems to really reach a targeted piece of that audience that you may want to speak to. It's still the number one player in the game, other than Google ads. It's, right there at the top. So that is number one. Paid search is the other. And then, other things that would fall into this category of paid ads would be like things like boosted posts or even sponsorships. What are things in your industry that you can spend money on that get you right in front of the right people? So a lot of people go to trade shows, or they sponsor content, or they sponsor podcasts, or they sponsor Facebook groups, or they sponsor other kinds of things that are showing up where people are going that are exactly their people. And event marketing kind of falls in line with that too. Are you showing up at an event with a booth or whatever it is? Are you speaking at an event or whatever that might be? So, but think about how can you, invest your money in places where your audience is going to be. And it's going to be those places where audiences already are, and there are places for you to pay to get in front of them in a meaningful, more impactful way, rather than it just happening organically. So that's what it is. The role of paid media is to, as we've mentioned a few times, get you exposure, but not just any exposure, more exposure to old and new audiences. The idea that you're running ads to meet strangers is part of it, but really it's, not just people that don't know you, but it's also people that do know you. So one of the best first places you can advertise is to people that already know you and that have already come into your world. So we'll talk about that a little bit in the tactics, but the role of media, of paid media, is to give you more exposure, not just to new audiences, but also to old audiences. And more exposure might just mean more people, but also it might mean more frequency of message. In other words, them seeing you over and over and over again over time, so that they continue to remember you when they get to that place of being ready to shop for your service. So that's one of the roles, is more exposure to old and new audiences. The other is faster growth. Paid media provides faster growth. The only way to get there and get more people into your world is to show yourself to more people, to show your brand and your message to more people. And the only way to do that is to bring more people into your world quicker. And that's what the role of paid media is. It's not going to happen with organic. Organic, by definition, has to happen in a natural way over time. So the only way to speed up that process is to invest. And then another role of it is, broader awareness. It's just physically impossible to meet everyone out there and to do that organically and for everyone to find you. They're just not always looking for you in the places where you happen to be. So paying for ads can put you into places where they are that you just can't get there organically. And then the last one is retargeting conversion. I know that's kind of technical terms. Basically, it's how do you take people that are in your world and convert them into people that are paying for your services? And a lot of the times people know of you, they just don't know what you're up to right now. They know that you exist, but maybe they don't know that you have a new offer that is perfect for them or for their people, their friends, around them. So you being able to tell people about what you're doing right now is part of the role of paid media. And honestly, the best ads out there are ones that you retarget. So let's dive into that. And before I do that, let's say, if you are out there and you are looking for ways to run paid ads to help you, before you do that, what I want you to think about is, do you have something that is available to capture their information? In other words, do you have a landing page that can take their information? And do you have a email sequence to follow up with people after they've seen your ad? That might be part of it too, is you building your inbound systems to be ready to accept more people into them. So it's just a little caveat, a little red flag, is that when I mentioned early on that, you have to have a proven business model, what I also mean is your systems for communicating with your customers have to be developed. You don't want to be pumping a bunch of people into your world and then not taking them anywhere, not following through and converting and nurturing them into a sale. So part of that might be email sequences, an email list, a landing page to convert, all that you need to build first. And if you don't have that yet, you can look at simple systems. One of the tools I like to use is called ConvertKit. It's an email list and landing page tool where you can manage your entire email list, send emails, broadcast, build sequences, all of that. And you can, if you want to get a link to that, just go to brandsonbrands.com/ConvertKit, and it'll take you right to a page with a little bit of a discount. So you can check that out. Another one is Lead Pages. That helps you specifically develop professional landing pages. You can check that out too, brandsonbrands.com/lead pages. And if you're there and you need that, check that out. At least get familiar with what those systems are. All right. So just wanted to cover that first, because if you don't have that to help with your conversion, then all this is a waste. So let's get into tactics for paid media. First things first, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but retargeting current customers or even current people in your world is the number one thing you can do with paid media. So in other words, let's say someone visits your website or they visit somewhere where you've been able to collect their email address, but even just a website where you don't have their email, if they just simply visit your site, if you have the right pixel set up, which you can Google that, Facebook pixel, and figure out how to set it up. If someone's visited your site and you have the right thing set up, you can later on send ads to those people on Facebook. You've basically let Facebook know, hey, this person visited my site, and then you can build an ad just to those people. Now imagine the people that showed up to your site last month for the last 30 days, all of them later on getting an ad of something you're selling. Them visiting your site lets you know that they are someone who at least knows who you are and have gotten slightly more familiar with what you do, but they may not know that you are currently marketing a new program or a new service or product. So those people that have already gotten a little bit more familiar with you are the lowest hanging fruit in terms of people that might be interested in buying from you. So they should be the first ones to see that you have something out there to offer. So follow them, basically. Get their information and retarget them leveraging paid ads. That is the first tactic, is seek out conversion. Conversion should be your first goal. The second is to figure out how to drive more consideration of your products in general. How do you do that? Well, you build a list and you nurture people on your list over time so that if they're not ready now, they might be ready in 3 to 6 months for your next thing, but you have to get them on your list to do that. So building people into your list helps you build that consideration. So figuring out how to run some kind of paid ad that gives away something that allows people to want to give you their information, their email, is the next tactic. Basically, how do you build your list with an ad? Usually you give them some kind of freebie. It might be an ad saying, hey, download my list or my tips on how to do this thing, or download my free templates, or download my free tool. And all you have to do is enter your email address, or, hey, here's a free 7-part course on how to do this thing or how to get started, whatever the thing is. To enter the course, please provide your email address and I'll send you the information. You give them an offer. You say, here's the thing that I've created for you. And if you want it, give me an email and I'll send it to you. It's a very transactional relationship. If they don't want it, they won't give you the email. No harm, no foul. But you building your list with a freebie helps you build consideration for future purchases. That is your second tactic with paid media. The third is to introduce your content, yourself, your services to other people, to introduce yourself, not sell them, to introduce yourself. And that's called awareness. That's you building attention, building an introduction to people that have no idea who you are. And you can just say, you can run something that is promoting a post that you already have so more people see it, or you can introduce them to your show in general and give them like the top reasons to listen to it and send them to where you are, or introduce them to your email list or to your podcast or to your YouTube show or whatever it is. Bring people in and just let them know that you have something that might be for them. Now, what I would say is this only works for people that are exactly the right people that would listen to your content, that are looking for that exact thing. It doesn't work for people that are just vaguely interested in your topic. So for me, if I have a marketing show, it's not for just everyone in business. It's going to be for people that actively seek out marketing content, that want to do marketing themselves and want to learn a little bit more, or want to work on their personal brand. They have to be actively in that headspace for this show to even be interesting. So that's my caveat, is you have to be hyper-targeted to just the exact right people that are looking for your exact thing when you're introducing your content and trying to create awareness in that way. And then the last thing that I would say is you can look to sell something small, right? You can look to recoup your investment in ads and create some kind of evergreen thing where you are paying for ads and the ads are starting to slowly pay for themselves by selling something small that someone in your audience would be interested in buying. And that might be a free with paid shipping book or a $10 course or template or $15 something other, anything in the range of like between $1 and $20, leaning towards that smaller end will help you recoup your costs. And if you can get your costs to like $2 or $3 per conversion or less, then you selling something along the way will help pay for the ads themselves. And then you can, once you get it to start to pay for itself, then you can ratchet up your budgets higher and higher. So thinking that way, how can you sell something small that's helpful to your audience that they'd be willing to pay for to ratchet up the investment in ads is another way to do this. That's the last in my list here. If you're thinking, well, what happened to how do I reach the largest audience possible? Let's go back to the idea of what is the role of it, right? So what I would do in that the biggest pool of people for me are people that might want my freebie. So those are people I'm bringing into my world that we talked about that I'm going to try to build my list with. So the broadest piece of it is your list building. The smallest piece of it is you retargeting and selling people things that you have. And the things in between are going to be the driving awareness of your content and the recouping your investment by selling something small. But you just got to think of it as, how do you bring people in that don't know you versus do know you? And then how do you, in those situations, what is actually going to be appealing to those people? So to go through them again quickly, it's retargeting your current customers, building your list with freebies, introducing your content to new people, and selling something small. Those are the 4 tactics that I would talk about and give to you as someone who's starting out on their paid media journey. And that doesn't just have to be Facebook ads, by the way. You can find ways to introduce yourself to people or build your list in person by paying to be on other people's shows with sponsorships, or by paying to have a booth at an event, or to be a sponsor of an event, or paying to be in search. There's other ways to get there, but I use this as an example because I think it's what's easiest for people to wrap their heads around. Those tactics will still apply to each of these channels. And you can find the channels that work the best for you and test them out and try different things. But at the end of the day is if you want to grow your personal brand and generate more exposure, again, that's the role of paid media, generate more exposure to old and new audiences to drive faster growth, then paid media is a channel you have to get more familiar with. Now, only do this again when you've gone through the trouble of setting up the systems behind it that you need, the email follow-ups and sequences and conversion pages, landing pages you need to take those people from ads into your world. But when you're ready and you have all that set up and you have a business model that works for you, paid ads is what's going to move you farther faster. So with that, again, if you want to help more people discover your content, leverage the power of paid ads, paid media, grow your list, convert existing customers and existing traffic, and introduce yourself to new audiences. Don't waste time waiting for organic growth. It's just a way to lose more money over a longer period of time. Once you're ready, ratchet it up. Don't waste time waiting for organic growth. Turn it up with paid ads. If you enjoyed the show today, that's my lesson for today. If you enjoyed the show, take a screen grab and tag me on Instagram at Brandon Berkmeyer. And remember, building your brand is a journey. Tackle these little items each day and move forward. I hope what you heard today, these tactics, these ideas shared, were helpful. And as always, thank you for listening, and I will catch you all next time.
You've just taken your marketing knowledge to another level with this episode of Brands on Brands on Brands. But we have plenty more ways to not just help you build a business, but build a brand. Head over to brandonbrands.com for more resources, as well as access to our blogs, videos, and exclusive coaching sessions with your host. Be sure to visit brandonbrands.com.